Have you ever poured your heart into someone, offering them trust and sincerity, only to be met with doubt and hurt in return? How many times have you silently questioned whether the person in front of you truly cares, or if they're just playing a role in your life? Could those kind words and gestures simply be a facade, hiding their own hidden agenda? Deception in relationships not only wounds us emotionally, but also undermines our trust in both ourselves and others. Maybe you want to believe that the people close to you aren't using you, but then subtle actions, insincere words, and half-truths begin to surface, revealing the reality. How do we avoid being swept away in a whirlpool of doubt and maintain peace when we sense someone's insincerity? In this video, we'll uncover 7 clear signs that someone isn't being honest with you. These lessons not only help you recognize these signs in others, but also encourage you to build the strength of a steadfast mind, which is your best defense against negativity. Before we dive in, I have a small challenge for you. Watch till the end and see how many of these signs you've encountered in your relationships. 1. They're never there when you need them. Have you ever felt like you've invested all your trust, sincerity, and sacrifice into someone only to be met with indifference and disappointment? How many times have you wondered if that person you considered a friend really cares about you, or if they're just using you for their own gain? Those kind words and kind gestures, are they genuine, or merely a mask to conceal their self-interest? Deception in friendships doesn't just hurt the heart, it chips away at our trust in others and eventually in ourselves. I once had a friend who I thought would always be there for me. I was always there for her, whether she was in trouble or needed help. But when I faced difficulties at work, feeling overwhelmed and exhausted, I called her, hoping for some comfort or support, and instead I got excuses. She was too busy or would call me back later, but that call never came. That was when I realized the harsh truth. This friendship only mattered when I was the one doing the giving. Another time, I needed a small loan from her, thinking she would easily help since she had promised me support before. But when I reached out, she came up with excuses again, even though I knew she could have easily lent me the money. It was a deeply painful realization that the kindness I had shown her had never been truly returned. Many of these so-called friends often have a whole range of excuses for their absence. They'll claim they're too busy or dealing with personal issues. But in reality, it's simply a cover for their selfishness and lack of sincerity. A real friend doesn't avoid you when things get tough. They'll be there to listen, even if their own life isn't perfect. Stoicism teaches us a valuable lesson. Don't place your hopes in things beyond your control. Don't become overly dependent on anyone, because, ultimately, you must learn to stand strong on your own. When you realize that a friend only comes around when it benefits them, don't take it as betrayal. See it as a lesson in protecting your heart and maintaining a safe distance. True friendship doesn't disappear when life gets tough. It's not conditional, but rooted in genuine love and respect. You don't have to completely cut people off, but it's wise to maintain a distance that allows your peace and inner strength to stay intact. Sometimes, letting go of a relationship doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means learning to love yourself with maturity and clarity. Choose carefully whom you allow into your life. Those friends who will stand by you even when there's nothing in it for them. 2. They never reach out to you first. Have you ever felt like you're the one putting all your trust and sincerity into a relationship, only to receive doubt and disappointment in return? How many times have you wondered if the person in front of you genuinely cares, or if they're just playing a subtle role in your life? Or those seemingly kind actions and sweet words just a cover for a hidden agenda? Deception in relationships doesn't just hurt, it erodes our trust in others, and even in ourselves. You might want to believe that someone close to you isn't using you, but then little actions, insincere words, and half-truths start to unravel the truth. So, how do we avoid being pulled into a spiral of doubt while holding on to our inner peace when we sense deception? In this video, we'll explore 7 clear signs that someone may not be genuine with you. And these insights will help you not only recognize others' true intentions, but also guide you in building a strong, resilient mind that's your best defense against negativity. Imagine having a friend who only reaches out when you make the first move, or worse, when they need something from you. It can leave you feeling drained, like you're the only one keeping the relationship alive. As a follower of Stoicism, I'm not suggesting that you immediately cut ties with such people. Instead, I encourage you to understand human nature better and learn to let go of expectations. If someone never initiates contact, it might be a sign they only see you as a secondary connection, a source of benefit when it's convenient for them, or they might simply lack true commitment. Imagine a friend who only calls when they need something, or when they're feeling down. Does that sound like a genuine, lasting relationship? Probably not. A true connection is one where both people are willing to give and receive, without one person doing all the work. Ask yourself, if I stopped reaching out, would they make an effort to maintain the connection? Take a step back and observe. If they care, they'll notice your absence and try to reconnect. If they don't, then you likely already have your answer. I once had a friend I thought was very close to me. I would frequently reach out, inviting them to coffee or to watch a movie, but then I realized that I was always the one initiating contact. Curious, I stopped reaching out to see what would happen. To my surprise, I didn't hear a single call, text, or enquiry from them. At first, I felt hurt and let down, but then I remembered a teaching from Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. I realized I had placed too much expectation on a relationship where the other person didn't share my values. Instead of feeling hurt, I saw it as a valuable lesson, a reminder of the power in letting go and focusing on controlling my own emotions. Stoicism teaches us that expectation is the root of disappointment. By learning to see relationships clearly and lowering our expectations for reciprocity, we can avoid unnecessary hurt. If someone shows they don't prioritize your presence in their life, then perhaps they've already limited your role in theirs. Though you may have invested much time and emotion into that connection, the reality is they don't place the same value on having you around. Instead of continuing to pour energy into an unbalanced connection, redirect your efforts toward relationships that offer genuine reciprocity, where both people give and receive equally. If someone never puts effort into maintaining a relationship, they may not truly value it, or may not know how to show it. But as a Stoic, you don't need to judge or react negatively. Instead, focus on building your inner strength, understanding, and acceptance. Direct your energy toward cultivating relationships that offer true balance. In the end, the most important thing in any relationship isn't whether others make an effort for you, but whether you are strong enough not to rely on their attention. This is the Stoic way, living with strength, calm, and resilience. They only focus on themselves. Have you ever been in a conversation where it feels like you're just an observer? The other person is the star of their own show, and you're stuck in the audience, unable to share anything about yourself? When you're dealing with insincere people, it's easy to feel like you're just there to listen to them talk about their lives, their achievements, and their problems, leaving you with little space to share your own. They make you feel like you're simply an accessory to their conversation. These people aren't truly interested in you. They use every interaction as an opportunity to spotlight their own experiences, as if they are the main character in a story that only includes them. This behavior isn't just selfish, it shows a lack of sincerity. When they don't value your thoughts or feelings, it's clear they aren't truly invested in you as a person. Imagine a colleague who constantly talks about their latest projects, extravagant vacations, or wide social network, but whenever you try to talk about your own life, they quickly shift the conversation back to themselves. It's as if they're uninterested in anything that doesn't directly involve them. I once had a friend like this. Every time we met, they would repeat the same stories, showing no curiosity about anything I had to say. At first, I tried to empathize, thinking they just needed someone to listen, but soon I realized that no matter what I shared, they showed no interest or response. That's when I understood that this was a one-sided relationship and they didn't see my value. Self-centered people are constantly seeking validation. They treat conversations as opportunities to feed their own egos, not to truly connect with others. If you try to share your struggles, instead of listening and offering support, they'll turn the focus back to their own problems. You're left feeling like your words don't matter, like you're speaking into an echo chamber. At that point, you realize they aren't really a friend. They don't want to share your burdens or offer any support. They only want to share their own. These individuals don't just ignore your feelings. They dismiss them completely. When you open up about something important, they react with indifference or even try to downplay what you've shared. It's not that they can't understand. It's that they don't want to. Have you ever shared something deeply personal, only for them to brush it off as if it didn't matter? Such reactions show how detached they are from your life. A true friend would never make you feel like a burden. They would take the time to listen, validate your feelings, and even offer support. Even if they didn't have advice to give, they would make you feel heard and respected. When you encounter someone who only talks about themselves, don't respond with hurt or anger. Instead, remind yourself that their behavior reveals their lack of maturity. You don't need to engage with insincerity. Recognize that they won't add any positive value to your life. Keep a safe distance and protect your spirit from unnecessary negativity. By doing so, you free yourself to focus on relationships that are genuine. You don't have to remain in relationships where you're not truly valued. Instead, take a step back and keep your energy for people who genuinely care. Not everyone deserves your time, and you're under no obligation to endure selfishness. Respond to these one-sided conversations with a stoic mindset. Remember, you have the power to choose relationships that are worthy of your time and energy. Keeping a distance from such individuals isn't about resentment. It's about guarding your peace. They forget what you talk about. Have you ever shared something deeply personal or meaningful? Maybe an important event or a cherished dream, and then realized the person you were speaking to had completely forgotten it? Perhaps when you bring it up again, they look at you with blank faces, having no recollection at all. This isn't a simple mistake. It's a sign that they didn't value what you shared, or perhaps they never truly saw you as important in their life. We all want those closest to us to not only hear us, but to remember the details of our lives, the struggles, the joys, the little things. Remembering what someone has shared with you is a real expression of care. I had a friend like this once. I excitedly told her about a new course I was starting, something I'd been looking forward to for a long time. It was a big milestone for me, and I shared my goals and hopes with her, believing this conversation would bring us closer. But the next time we met, she had no memory of what I'd said. There were no questions about how the course was going or any acknowledgement of the excitement I had shared. That moment hit me hard. I realized that I didn't have a meaningful place in her life. If she really cared, wouldn't she have at least asked how things were going with that course? But instead, it was as if I hadn't spoken at all. I realized that truly listening and remembering isn't a chore. It's a natural result of genuine care. When someone listens to you with the intent to remember, it shows they are present and that they value you. I began to compare this to another friend I had. She would remember even the smallest details of our conversations, whether it was a new restaurant I wanted to try or a short family trip I was planning. These small details might seem insignificant to others, but to me, they meant a lot. It showed that she listened with her heart, not just her ears, and made me feel truly valued. In Stoicism, relationships are built on genuine care and real listening. After that experience, I asked myself if it was worth keeping relationships where the other person wasn't truly listening. The answer became clear: no. I didn't need to hold on to people who didn't value me. Letting go of superficial relationships wasn't about becoming cold. It was about making space for people who genuinely cared. Since then, I've learned to cherish the friends who are truly there for me, the ones who remember every detail, who ask about my life, and who care enough to listen. These friends are rare, but they are invaluable. I've come to understand that life feels full and meaningful when surrounded by people who truly understand and respect us. People who are there for us not just when it's convenient, but in moments of joy, sorrow, and everything in between. They always want something from you. Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where every question or gesture seems to have a hidden agenda? At first, this person may seem like a trustworthy friend, genuinely interested in your life, your work, or offering support during tough times. But upon closer inspection, you realize it's all for their own benefit. People like this ask about your life, not because they care, but to figure out what they can gain from you. Maybe you've had a friend who often asked about your financial situation or job, but wasn't there when you really needed help. Those questions weren't born from concern. They were to assess what benefits they could get from you when it suited them. My friend David had a similar experience with his friend John. They'd shared personal thoughts, and John seemed genuinely interested in David's plans and projects. David thought he had found a loyal friend, someone to support him. But when David went through a financial struggle and needed a little help, John became distant and evasive. David quickly realized that John was only around when things were going well for him. He was just using David when it was convenient. Sadly, relationships like these are all too common. Some people pretend to be close friends only to exploit you in moments of vulnerability. They're there during easy times, but vanish when you need them most. They don't share in your joys or sorrows. They're simply there to see what they can take from you. Stoicism teaches us to recognize these people and to stay calm, not allowing such relationships to hurt us. Imagine having a friend who constantly asks for your advice or support, making you feel valued. But when it's your turn to share your own struggles, they suddenly become too busy or uninterested. David faced this when he had a setback at work and needed someone to talk to. But John made excuses and didn't have time for him. That's when David realized their relationship existed only when he was the one giving. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of understanding people's motives. Stoicism helps us maintain a steady mind and avoid bitterness or disappointment over one-sided relationships. When you realize that someone only takes more than they give, it's important to recognize it and keep your distance. This doesn't mean cutting ties with everyone, but learning to protect your peace when a relationship no longer serves you. They talk behind your back. One of the most painful experiences is realizing that someone you trusted or respected is speaking ill of you behind your back. For those who embrace Stoicism, facing this betrayal requires clear insight and a resilient heart. It demands a calm mind that refuses to let such betrayals disrupt inner peace. While there may not always be clear proof, you can often sense when someone is talking badly about you. There's a subtle unease that lingers when you're around them, an invisible thread of tension. You might not know exactly what was said, but their behavior will reveal hints, perhaps a forced smile, a dismissive tone, or passive-aggressive gestures. Linda, for example, once trusted her colleague deeply. She shared her work achievements, expecting sincere encouragement. But she started noticing her colleagues' hollow smiles and comments that downplayed her successes, such as, "Oh, it's really not a big deal." Eventually, Linda discovered that her colleague had been spreading unkind comments behind her back to diminish her achievements and boost their own image. Although hurt, Linda chose not to confront her colleague. Instead, she distanced herself and focused on her own work, protecting her peace. Often you'll hear secondhand remarks through mutual friends or acquaintances. Those who gossip tend to subtly undermine you, making offhand comments to plant seeds of self-doubt, such as, "Oh, it's really nothing major," right? They aim to put you down, but a Stoic person won't let their words affect their value. Marcus Aurelius taught that it's not others' actions or words that offend us, but how we choose to perceive them. If you let hurtful remarks affect you, you give others the power to control your emotions. Let their words pass through you without letting them disturb your peace. In moments of betrayal, it's easy to fall into a cycle of negative reactions, but Stoicism teaches us to manage our emotions and behavior. Ask yourself, does this really matter? Do these words change who I am? With a firm belief in your worth, you'll see that such negativity is nothing more than background noise. Those who speak poorly of you are often driven by jealousy or resentment, trapped by their own insecurities. Instead of getting caught in their envy, focus on your own growth and refuse to let rumors disturb your peace of mind. Stoicism doesn't suggest cutting off everyone who speaks poorly of you. Instead, it encourages us to maintain self-respect and not let others disrupt our inner peace. No matter what someone says behind your back, their words don't change your value. By staying calm, steady, and self-assured, you embody the true spirit of Stoicism, a spirit of inner tranquility that rises above life's trivialities. They act differently with different people. One of the most painful realizations in life is discovering that someone you trusted and respected is willing to completely change their behavior to suit their own selfish needs. For those who practice Stoicism, recognizing this isn't just a lesson, it's a challenge that requires maintaining calm and clarity. People who constantly adjust their words, attitudes, or values based on who they're with often lack sincerity and real alignment with their supposed beliefs. Maintaining relationships with such people can lead to a sense of disappointment and mistrust. Imagine having a friend who's always there for you, supporting you, but when you face a major setback, like losing your job or going through financial difficulties, they suddenly grow distant. Daniel had a similar experience. He was once highly successful, surrounded by friends and colleagues, but when he lost his position, many of his so-called close friends disappeared. The friendly smiles, the supportive questions, all vanished. Those who had admired him when he was successful now offered excuses and avoided him. Daniel realized they had been benefiting from his success and were now looking for someone else who could help them climb higher. People like this are often drawn to those who can help them achieve their goals and become indifferent once that person no longer serves their purpose. They'll show up at social events where influential people gather and adjust their behavior, becoming more welcoming and friendly. They have no problem discarding anyone who no longer benefits them. As Marcus Aurelius taught, true worth lies in honesty and living in harmony with your nature, not in temporary changes made for fleeting gain. When you see someone's behavior shifting because influential or wealthy people are around, ask yourself, do they really respect you, or are they just using you to climb higher? If you were to lose all your status and success, would they still stand by you, or would they drift away in search of more advantageous relationships? This realization calls for careful reflection on the value of each relationship. Recognizing insincerity isn't about doubting everyone, but about nurturing only those relationships that are genuinely worthwhile. Stoicism helps us not to rely on the temporary emotions of others, but to keep our spirits stable, calm, and undisturbed by superficiality. By mastering our emotions, we prevent two-faced individuals from penetrating our inner core, a core built on strength, self-respect, and steadfast commitment to our true values. If you found this video valuable, please give it a like and share it with your loved ones. Help them learn how to protect themselves from insincere relationships. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue exploring lessons from Stoic philosophy that can help you live a life of strength and inner peace. If you've made it this far, leave a comment saying, "I've uncovered a fake friend," and I'll congratulate you on this insightful realization. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos.